Holistic medicine is an understanding more than anything else that everything in nature can work to help you and or have a detrimental value to you, but also it's an understanding of when you are working to get yourself into a healthier state that you can't just treat one thing, you have to treat the whole thing. So holistic medicine, like naturopathy, is basically working with the physical, the emotional, psychological, spiritual, every part of the being of the person to help you to get well. So for instance, someone comes with a headache, you're not going to say, oh, take an aspirin. You're going to try and figure out why they have a headache in the first place, to help to curtail it so it won't happen again. And it could be something really simple like they're dehydrated, or it could be something a little bit more involved. But you only will understand that if you question a person. So with naturopathy, there's a lot of questioning. There's a lot of, things like you wouldn't even expect, like what color were you wearing that day, could actually have an effect on how you felt. So a little bit about me. I've been in healthcare for about 30 years. And I started out, actually, it was an interesting story. I used to work in a bank, and I hated my job. I was a supervisor there, and I was thinking I just really have to change careers. I was on my way home from work one night and was hit head on by a drunk driver. I was crushed into my car and had to be taken out with the jaws of life, although I was fine. It's just I couldn't get out of my car altogether. And it was about 6 years that I couldn't move my neck. And I mean, I could move it, a little bit here and there, but it would hurt. I would have headaches. I would get nauseous. I had all kinds of things going on. Went to a number of different doctors. They sent me for different therapies. I went to physical therapy. They gave me medications that I hated taking, so I didn't. I went to, orthopedic doctors. I went to muscle doctors. I went to everybody. Nothing was helping. And finally, someone had referred me, said, try this one doctor. He's a little bit different, but I think you'll like him. I think maybe he could help you. So I went to this doctor. He was a general practitioner. And he said to me, I think you should try massage therapy on your neck. Well, now we're talking 35 years ago, when massage therapy still had a negative connotation attached to it. It still does now even, depending on where you go, but it had a very negative connotation. And so I was like, this guy is a lunatic, he's telling me to go to a massage therapist, woohoo. And finally I said, okay, I'll go, because he was saying, no, you don't understand it. You really need to try this. So I went, and the woman that I saw worked with him in his office, and she was so knowledgeable about the body. When she worked on my neck, it was the first time in 6 years that I actually got relief from discomfort. But I do herbology, I do homeopathy, I do acupuncture, I do massage therapy. Right now, I tend not to do as much of those anymore. I'm kind of semi-retired, don't tell my husband. I do more consultation than anything else, and I've started focusing more on, I've made a lot of herbal preparations throughout the years, and that's what I focus more on now. Is I make teas and tinctures and skincare products and stuff like that, that I was making primarily for myself, started giving them as gifts, how that goes. Then everybody's like, oh, I love this, I want to get this for this person. And then clients, when you make them a tea because they have a headache and you make them this headache tea and it really works for them, then it's like, oh, my cousin Joey has this. And so I started a line of products probably about 18 years ago, I guess it was. I've always enjoyed drinking teas, so I also make preparations of just regular teas that people can enjoy. You don't have to have an ailment, but you will also always receive a health benefit from it because tea is a very healthy beverage.
So are we going to make a tea today?
Sure.
So we're going to go into the kitchen. Where are you going?
I'm going away.
So we're going to go in the kitchen now and we're going to make a tea. What tea are we making today?
What do you want to make?
What have we got?
Well, I brought a couple of prepackaged teas. They're dry herbs that I weigh out and I package, so it's really easy to prepare.
And we'll show you those later.
But we can also, you know, if you wanted to pick something from your garden to add in and make a tea, we can make something that way.
Yeah, let's forage through the garden and see what we can find, and then we'll bring them back to the kitchen and make some tea.
Sounds good.
Want to do that?
Yeah. Okay, we're going to make some tea. And we're doing it with fresh herbs from the garden. We picked some lemon balm. These two are lemon balm. And some strawberry mint. And I have never tried the strawberry mint. That's like so...
I'm excited.
Just even the smell is like so
Yeah.
good. So there's two primary ways of doing a tea. And we're going to make one iced and we're going to make one with a hot infusion. When you do a hot infusion, like I mentioned before, you can withdraw the constituents of the herbs or whatever it is you're putting in there, tea leaves or whatever. They are more readily available into the beverage, so it doesn't take as long. Cold infusion takes a little bit longer, but you get just as good of a flavor, if not better. So we're going to make one of each.
And is it's okay to have the flowers?
It depends on what you're making, but yeah, the flowers are fine.
Okay.
And we'll just put one sprig of lemon balm in each of the cups. And because we only took one sprig of the strawberry mint, I'm going to break this in half and we'll put one in each. And you'll notice a difference when we do these. Now, if you did dried herbs, which you could do as well, it's basically the same process, so it's not going to be any different. It's just if you use a dried herb, you need to use a little bit more to get the same flavor as the fresh. So we're going to try the hot. When you do hot, and this is really hot, you want to make sure the water is not boiling. To get the best extraction from the leaves or the herbs that you're putting in, you could put a cinnamon bark, you could put a number of different things in it to add flavor. Ginger, whatever you want to put in. To get the best extraction, you want the water to be at about 160 degrees. So you don't want it boiling, you don't want it very hot, because that can actually make the taste of your beverage afterwards a little bit bitter and too acidic.
So can you cool it off by just putting colder water in there?
Yes. And to do a cold extraction, you could do it a few different ways. You could do a sun tea. So you can put your beverage in a container that has a lid and then just leave it out in the sun, which actually will end up doing a warm infusion because the heat from the sun and the heat from the bottle being closed will actually produce the warmth enough to extract the flavors from your product. So this is cold.
They're both cold, yeah.
Okay. So we'll do the cold first because it's going to be easy. And all you have to do is pour the water over your herbs, and depending on how much you want and how strong you want it, you know, how weak you want it. Normally I try to make mine a little bit stronger because if I want it weaker, I just add a little bit more water. I don't particularly care for a lot of ice in my beverages, so but I will put it in if I feel I have to. And then you're just going to let that sit. That's it. Easy enough. And I prefer leaving mine to sit overnight, but just even a few hours is all you'll need. And then you can smell the aromas. Actually, you could already smell it. in here. That strawberry, man, that is so strong. That's
Hey,
amazing.
smell?
Yeah, you could smell it right from there.
Oh wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that it would be that fragrant with just that little sprig. But that's enough, like I said, to give you a whole big cup. So you could probably even add some ice or more water to it after it infuses for a while.
And this is going to be the cold one. Huh?
That's the cold one.
Okay.
So
how long do I wait for this?
You could wait maybe an hour or two.
Okay.
Sometimes I just put it in the refrigerator and let it sit overnight, and then in the morning it's really strong and really tasty and yummy. To do the hot infusion, it only takes 5 to 10 minutes. Normally, when you infuse, like if you got a tea bag at the store and you're infusing the tea, you'll only let that sit for like 3 to 5 minutes. When you're doing with fresh herbs, I usually like to let it sit about 10 minutes. So you want the water hot again, but not boiling. So we're gonna try just a little bit, and you'll notice the difference. I'm going to show you a difference in what happens with the leaves with just the temperature. Okay, if you take a closer look here, you'll see the leaves start to wilt a little bit in the hot, where they don't do that as much in the cold. So after a minute, you'll see the leaves starting to fold, because what's happening is all the constituents from inside are drawing out a lot faster.
Is there one that's more healthier than the other?
Well, it depends on how long you let the cold sit, because the hot one, like I said, is going to draw the extracts from your product a lot faster. So they're both healthy, but it's like, if you say what's the healthiest, it depends on how long you leave it to sit and extract. You can also powder them and grind it like a matcha tea, which is powdered tea, which you get the full benefits of the plant, where here we're just drawing out the constituents of it. So with the whole plant, you're getting everything. So it's higher in antioxidants, it's higher in nutrients by having it powdered. So you can even dry these leaves out, hang them upside down, let them dry, and then just grind them up into a powder. Or if you have even a coffee grinder, use a coffee grinder and make a powder.
How about a mortar and pestle?
Mortar and pestle is awesome if you have one. And just do it that way to make your powdered product. And then when you have the powdered tea, the powdered leaves, if you just add water to it, and you could do hot or cold, it's instant. You're not having to wait to extract anything from it. You're going to drink it whole. So whether it's hot or cold, you get much more benefit from the powdered tea product than from this, because you're just drawing the stuff out. And half of the times, people, after they make the tea, they'll just throw the leaves out. I like to eat them, so I leave them in. I don't take them out. Some people will strain them, and again, some will throw them away.
So do you have, you said you had some pre-made teas right there?
I do. I have some. This is my absolute favorite tea. I call it Secret Garden, and this is a traditional tea. Tea is actually, all tea comes from the same leaf, the Camellia sinensis plant, and it depends on how that leaf is fermented and where it's grown as to how it's going to taste. So a leaf that's picked when it's a baby leaf, where it has a little bit of a white fuzz on it, is called white tea. They pick those leaves, they do not ferment them, but they dry them, and then they make the tea out of it. So that's a white tea. A green tea is when they pick the leaf after it's fully matured, but they don't ferment it long. So fermenting is when they leave the leaves to just kind of sit and fester a little bit. They heat it a little bit so that it dries. The green tea has a little bit more caffeine. The fermentation process, even though nothing's added to it, actually adds caffeine. So green tea has a little bit more caffeine. The highest nutritional value, though, is in the white tea. And then you go up a little bit, you ferment it a little bit more, it's an oolong tea. You ferment it a little bit more, it's a black leaf tea. But it's all the same leaf. So depending on what plantation it's grown at, what elevation, what soil is used, it's going to have a completely different flavor. So you'll hear things like Formosa or Orange Pico, or you'll hear all these different terms to describe a tea, and that's where those come from. But anyway, this has tea. It's got both green and black leaf tea in it, and then I put rose petals, lavender, and jasmine. And the health benefits of all of those, well, lavender we know relaxes you, it makes you calm, makes you feel good, great for digestion. Jasmine has been used recently in studies as an antidepressant. So it's a feel-good kind of herb, it makes you feel really good. And rose petals are really good source of vitamin C, vitamin A. It's got magnesium, it's got potassium, so it's great for the muscles, great for the skin. So even ingesting it in a tea form is going to benefit the skin, the hair, the nails. So this is my favorite tea, plus it tastes really good.
And tell us again, what is the name of the tea leaf?
Camellia senescens.
And is that where does that grow in native?
It can grow all over, but primarily it's China, Japan, and India. The three places that you find the best tea leaves. We do grow some
Asian continents.
Right, we do grow some here in the U.S., but the finer teas are grown at certain elevations, like Mount Fuji, and so they'll have a different flavor altogether. Then I have a lemongrass, which is just dried lemongrass. It's all it is. But lemongrass has a number of health benefits, especially for digestion, for the skin, for the liver and kidneys. And then jasmine tea. That's just a green tea with jasmine flowers. And so you could use these to either snip the end and just take a teaspoon and throw it in a cup like this and let it sit for a little bit and make a hot cup of tea or an iced cup of tea, or you can stick the whole bag in a pitcher and make a whole bunch all at once.
And then you sell these on your website?
Yes.
And where can they find you?
mjshealthyhabits.com.
So all kinds of teas, you actually sell these on your website?
Yes.
How much do they go for?
These here are $3.50. But the other teas that I make, I either do bagged teas, individual cups, or loose leaf. And depending on what's in it, what herbs are in it, will depend on the price.
So will you be willing to give one of these away to our subscribers?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And
so what we need you to do is to go down in the comments and say, I want MJ's tea in the comments. And what we'll do, we'll give it about 3 weeks, and then we'll pick a subscriber out of those people that commented. But in the meantime, definitely go over to mjhealthyhabits.com and see all the selection of teas that she has there. And also, she has body butter and really awesome sprays, which you guys remember when I hurt my back in the cave? Well, she was nice enough to give me some of her spray, and it actually felt like an icy hot, and I don't use icy hot, so I was like, it was really exciting, and it really helped out a lot. I thank you for that. But she has all kinds of natural products on her website, so check it out, and yeah, let us know what you think.
cool.
Well, thank you, Mary.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And you'll have to try your teas in a little bit and
Yeah, I'm gonna
see what they taste
show
like
it later.
and taste the difference between the hot and the cold.
Is this one
The hot might
hot?
be ready soon,
Okay.
and you can take a sip and see if it's ready or if it needs to steep a little bit longer.
That's good.